Tesla's Giga Berlin factory broke ground on June 1st of 2020, while Tesla's Austin, Texas Gigafactory, or Tera Texas as I like to call it, broke ground on August 12th of 2020. So the Berlin factory should come online 2 months before the Texas one, right? Well, maybe not. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So I'm going to try to keep this episode kind of short because I'm doing a live stream with the Angry Astronaut later today, so definitely subscribe or at least check it out and make sure that you're there for the live stream. That is assuming that the Virgin Galactic live stream doesn't happen at the same time. So anyway, we will see. But anyway, so now I've talked too much and made this episode longer, but you should definitely check that out. It's going to be a fantastic interview. So the first thing to note here about the factories is we haven't even made it to 1 year past when the Berlin factory broke ground, right? It's May 22nd here as I record this, and June 1st of last year was when they broke ground, and it was during a pandemic for both of these factories. And it's just amazing that they're building these things so quickly. Now, as is obvious from pictures, the Berlin factory is basically almost ready. It looks like, except for a few kind of gaping like holes that they've left in to be able to move large machinery into the factory, it appears to be almost done. While the Texas one is still, there's parts of it that look finished, but there's a lot that's not finished. So why would the Berlin factory not be coming online first? And what are the consequences to Tesla this year? Well, in answer to the first question, as many of you I'm sure know, Germany as a whole and Europe, of course, as a whole, have a lot more regulations than a state like Texas in the United States does. Texas is a pretty deregulated, business-friendly state. So basically what's going on is Berlin right now appears to be being held up almost entirely by red tape. I think that explains to some extent why Elon Musk felt it necessary to fly to Berlin last week and, kind of talk up the factory. I think he's trying to push Germany to approve the factory as quickly as possible so they can start to manufacture their Model Ys there as quickly as possible. But it could take months and months and months for that to happen. In the meantime, we're less than 8 months from groundbreaking in Texas, but that appears to be already producing the underbody sections for Model Ys. Now, it's unclear whether those are production ready at this point or they're prototypes that they're sending to Fremont just to check it out. But at any rate, I counted somewhere around 100 of these underbodies in this photograph. So that indicates that Tera Texas is producing parts that look, at least from a distance, like they're production ready. So that's pretty impressive considering the factory is still being built around the machines. So anyway, with the very, very business-friendly, deregulated Texas government, there is a reasonable chance that Berlin might be delayed so long through red tape that Texas might actually start producing automobiles first. So what are the consequences because of that? Well, number one, to my friends in Europe who I know are waiting with bated breath to get a Model Y. I know there's a lot of people that I've been in contact with that are like, can't wait, got it on order, etc. They're going to be really, really sad to see a delay push back their delivery dates for sure. And of course, for Tesla's 2021 production capacity and their eventual profits in Q3 and Q4 of this year, it could have a serious effect because I think that Tesla was kind of counting on some production from Berlin in Q3 to be able to start to bolster their numbers and allow them to produce even more cars than they have in the past. So that could definitely have a material impact on their Q3 and Q4 earnings. And finally, in what might be the most interesting aspect of this, the 4680 battery cells, which I believe are going to be used in the Model Ys in Texas, they're definitely going to be used in the Model Ys in Berlin. Those are being produced in Fremont right now. And so I would imagine that most of them, maybe they haven't shipped yet, but that they would be looking to ship those to Berlin, but they may actually alter that and they may start shipping a lot of the batteries to Texas. That is a much easier process to do, of course, because they can do that overland in the United States instead of having to take them by boat or something and all around the world. It is a long ways from Fremont, California through probably the Panama Canal up to the northern area of Germany to get to a port there. So in terms of production, it is possible that if the red tape lasts long enough, that Tesla might shunt a bunch of the batteries that they had slated for Berlin originally, put them to Texas, which could delay the Berlin production even further because, of course, once they are able to get online, they wouldn't then have enough batteries to produce their cars. So as you might imagine, Tesla's got a very interesting logistics issue going on, and they kind of have to guess the future a little bit. But for sure, Q3 and Q4 are going to be impacted by Berlin being kind of held up by red tape right now. On the other hand, the Texas factory is going gangbusters, and they might be able to start producing cars faster than they originally projected. And once again, just to keep this in perspective, both factories are not even at the 1-year mark. So it's pretty incredible that they are as far along as they are in both cases. I'm sure the German government, one of the reasons why they're having so much trouble is that most of these factories probably take about 3 years to build, and so there's plenty of time for the permitting process to work out. When you do it 3 times as fast as they're used to, suddenly they're like, And again, in Texas, for better or for worse, Texas doesn't really care, and they're just like, go for it, man. But Germany is much more protective of the environment, much more protective of the workers, much more safety conscious, so there's a lot more red tape to go through. So in the end, what do you think? Do you think that Texas or Berlin is going to produce the first Model Y this year? I'm personally starting to change my opinion and going more towards Texas than Berlin. For the longest time, I thought obviously it was going to be Berlin, but I'm starting to think it might actually be Texas, so we will see. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it fun and informative. If you did, definitely like it so other people can find it. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more of this, including the interview with the angry astronaut. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You all are the most wonderful people in the world. I really appreciate it. And they will actually be moderating my interview with the angry astronaut, so that's a cool thing too. Of course, if you want to join the fun, just look at the link in the description. And don't forget about WeBull, which is a stock and crypto trading platform. If you look in the description, you click on the link and open an account, you get one stock valued at up to $250. And if you fund the account with $100 or more, you get a second free stock valued at up to $1,600. So that is a fantastic deal. Check it out in the description. And of course, don't forget about our merch store, which has awesome t-shirts like Tesla Rockets for the People, Don't Mess with Tesla, other t-shirts, tumblers, mugs, etc. So check out the link in the description. And finally, we are both Tesla and Amazon affiliates. If you look in the description, you can see how clicking on a link and going shopping helps the channel. Thank you. And as always, feel free to ask me questions in the comments or at my email address, which is drknowitallknows@gmail.com. Till next time, bye-bye.